if I look back at who I was when we first got children, there were so many things I hadn't thought about, didn't think knew, and now we live a totally different life. Um, and so if you look back, now your oldest is 20, how has it affected you, the whole deschooling
Mm.
trip?
Oh
And
my
I call it a
goodness.
trip because it is way out there sometimes.
It really is. That's a great word for it. It is trippy shit
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. Yes. I would say that one of the biggest things for me is that I am so much slower than who I was when I was, little Marley and little Sage's mama. I am so much slower. That version of me was like, I worshiped efficiency and structure, and this makes sense, and this plus this equals this, and if you do this, then this, like I was very much that sort of way. And as you said, like watching my children, being able to witness them unplugging from the matrix in certain ways, and also later on certain battles that they just don't have because they're raised how they're raised. I just realized that for me, this fast paced, efficient A student mentality was costing me so much in terms of my personal leadership and also in my closest relationships, because I was such a judge of why people didn't have this or why they, I was just so judgmental and really clear about what needs to be done to have this be that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say this version of me is so much more tender, so much slower. I pride myself on saying that I am a slow processor. It's actually it's actually how I honor the multiple versions of myself, including the one that tends to need to burn out before she realizes that she needs to slow some shit down. Um, that's a huge part of it. So even now, as I've closed the podcast, Fear of the Free Child is now officially an elder, as you mentioned, just like living its own life. One of the things that I get to do, because I'm not producing a podcast every week, is to just go slower, period. To be slower, to have the space to tend to my thoughts, to make connections that I couldn't make before, to notice connections that were already there, to be able to have a conversation with someone and then revisit it multiple times when I'm at different spaces so that I can pull the wisdom from that differently. That's one of the biggest ways that I'm different.